Thank you, and welcome to today's webcast and Thorogood's first Anaplan Roadmap event. My name is Austin Fiero, and I'm joined by my colleague Amanda. Amanda and I are business intelligence and analytics consultants here at Thorogood, and we've drawn on our Anaplan experience and expertise to bring you today's presentation. You can also feel free to get in touch with us via our contact details on the screen if you wish to have a longer discussion about today's topic. We will share our contact details again at the end of the presentation. Our agenda today will start with an introduction to Thorogood. I'll be reviewing recent key feature updates that Anaplan has rolled out. Amanda will then recap the recent Las Vegas Anaplan Hub that she attended for those who missed out. She will then cover Anaplan's upcoming roadmap and the Anaplan Optimizer, which I feel will be heavily utilized. Finally, we'll wrap up with a conclusion and our upcoming events. Now, for those who don't know about Thorogood, we're an independent global professional services firm specializing in business intelligence and analytic strategies, solutions, and services with a keen focus on our customers. We have recently celebrated our 30th anniversary. Now, we are a global company with offices in New York, Philadelphia, London, Bangalore, India, Singapore, and Sao Paulo, Brazil. All of our consultants are recruited and trained in the same way to develop a unique mix of skills, blending business understanding in the form of industry and functional expertise, with strong technical aptitude and a deep understanding of analytical tools and techniques. We offer a full range of BI and analytics services, including strategy and roadmaps, requirements, design, implementation, and training and support. Our clients typically span 4 data-rich verticals: consumer goods, pharmaceutical and health services, banking, and insurance. Our clients are some of the leading organizations in these sectors, and we take a lot of pride in the long-standing relationships we have fostered with some of the names that you see here. In terms of the technologies that we work with, we're an independent consulting firm, meaning we don't work with one specific technology. We do, however, work and partner with many of the key players in the market in order to provide our clients with the solution that best suits their needs. So to give you a bit of background into the growing popularity of Anaplan, I have highlighted a few key accolades from the past year that Anaplan was able to capture. So you can see they're first on 2017's Entrepreneur 360 list. They're also a leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant, and they have over 800 customers globally. So now before jumping into the updates, I wanted to give a brief overview of what Anaplan actually is. Anaplan is a cloud-based tool whose name combines the words analysis and planning. Its goal is to enable collaborative planning, ultimately improving your operational performance. Its core idea is to provide a single hub for business users to manage data models without using code or relying on IT personnel. Once data is in the Anaplan cloud, business users can analyze different data sets that can range across functional areas like finance, sales, or other parts of the company. Anaplan provides users a familiar Excel-like functionality, enabling empowerment of data-driven decisions without requiring a data science background or skill set. So next, I'll be going into the recent key updates from some of Anaplan's general releases. I strongly feel that many of these key updates are going to have impact on the effectiveness and ease of use of the tool. So the first major update is the personal dashboard. For those unfamiliar with Anaplan, workspace admins build and provide users with master dashboards. A pain point here with this is that they may not fit the specific needs for each of the business users accessing the report. With the release of the personal dashboard, users can obtain a copy of the master dashboard. From there, they can edit the dashboard to meet their specific needs, such as filtering the data just to show North America. Or we can see here, changing the charts from one chart type to another. This functionality allows the user to capture their specific preferences while allowing them the ability to save it for repeated use. Admins have the ability to enable or disable these personal dashboards at any time, and its changes made to the master dashboard are pushed to all users. In summary, I really think this offering will allow users increased flexibility, which I feel will lead to increased efficiency. This savable, personalized view of the dashboard will also save organizations' key users valuable time and better, more personal insights into the data. So another update which has recently been released is the general availability of DocuSign for Anaplan. The one caveat with this release is that it's only available for premium and enterprise customers of Anaplan with a business DocuSign plan or higher. Now, with that aside, we have heard from some of our customers the pain points with the manual, segmented processes they had been using between Anaplan and DocuSign documents. This update solves those issues, as the integration will enable users to generate DocuSign documents that include Anaplan data. By leveraging the self-service capabilities of this add-on, you remove the time wasted by manually exporting data and managing distribution lists. So some of the main use cases with this update include the ability to generate hundreds of dynamic documents with minimal effort, streamlining document signing with the DocuSign workflows, which I'll show in a bit, and the ability to track real-time updates for the sent documents. So what we have here is an overview of the DocuSign workflow. First, you name the envelope, choose the module and view from Anaplan and the DocuSign template you wish to use. Next, you're going to map the Anaplan columns to the roles and actions that you've defined in your DocuSign document template, as you can see here. This next step is optional, but allows you to personalize the sent envelope and actually track it too. So we can see here some of the sent documents and the metrics associated with them, like number of sent documents, completed documents, those pending, and those that have been declined. So lastly, I wanted to touch on the business map and a few other key updates that have rolled out recently. What we have here is the business map, and it's a bird's eye view of the Anaplan environment that has been set up. This is very helpful for customers with many different models across a breadth of functions, locations, environments, and much more. You can see on the image different model boxes like incentive compensation and the category values associated with those models. With the goal of connected planning always at the forefront of Anaplan's focus, this feature allows visualizing connections amongst multiple use cases, for example, marketing, sales, and logistics, all in one place. The business map can be used to view all the data hubs, models, imports in a single location. You can also find specific models, group models, into workspaces, and even open them directly from the map, saving time while adding visibility into your Anaplan environment. Another feature for those familiar with Excel is the quick sum bar. Here you have the ability, when data is highlighted, to see metrics like count, minimums and maximums, averages, and sums. Lastly, I would like to touch on time ranges. This feature can be applied to modules or line items, restricting data to specific ranges, making it easier to see data based on a specific view that you are looking for. Having now given a brief overview of what Anaplan is and recapping some of the recent updates, I'd like to hand it over to Amanda, who's going to recap the Anaplan Hub.
Thank you very much, Austin. The Anaplan Hub, so this is an annual conference that Anaplan runs that consolidates current customers, prospective customers, current Anaplan employees, partners such as ourselves, bring them all together in a conference for a few days and talk about how has Anaplan been utilized in the past year or so? How are all these different companies utilizing Anaplan? How can you utilize Anaplan? And what's on the roadmap moving forward? What can you expect to come out of the product in the next 6, 12, 18 months or so? So the big Anaplan Hub conference was this past March 5th through 7th at the ARIA Conference Center in Las Vegas, and I was fortunate enough to attend. What I'll also say is that in addition to the big Anaplan Hub conference, Anaplan also runs a Hub Comes to You type events, so smaller sessions where much of the content is taken from the larger Hub conference itself. And they're actually running the London conference today, and we'll be running a Paris conference in June as well as the Singapore conference in the coming months. So be on the lookout for those events. But Anaplan Hub back in March was a fantastic event. It started off with a wonderful keynote speaker, Malcolm Gladwell, whom some of you may know as the acclaimed author of The Tipping Points. And I would highly suggest and recommend watching his keynote speech and that video on the Anaplan website. he talks about the utilization of tools and the processes in which we actually ultimately measure performance, and how, and he utilizes, I believe, basketball analogies as well as the U.S. education system to kind of drive his point home. But it was a very good session, so highly recommend there. But in terms of the overall conference, probably my biggest takeaway from it was the breadth and depth of the company case studies that came through. There were over 150 breakout sessions throughout the 2.5 days or so, and I've listed some of my favorites here. Collaborative forecasting within Coca-Cola. So Coca-Cola themselves were looking to increase the number of distribution centers across North America, but each had their own forecasting system within Excel. So that's a great use case to bring Anaplan into the mix and really help consolidate and give them one version of the truth. Other sessions, pricing strategy and planning within Estee Lauder, as well as an FP&A session with Unum Group. Many more. Many of those videos also available on the Anaplan website, so go check those out. And then finally, a lot of what I got out of the conference was some excitement about other expected updates in future releases. So I know Austin's kind of walked through some of the biggest updates that we've seen over the last few months. But in terms of what we can see moving forward, I've put down the biggest ones here. The first one being process workflow. Process workflow is something that Thorogood has heard from our own clients as something that they would be interested in Anaplan working toward. Anaplan's very good at being able to consolidate and give you that version of the truth for your analysis, your planning and budgeting, but interested in having Anaplan be a bit more proactive in being able to drive users to the utilization of the application. So this process workflow, which was demoed during the Hub conference itself with a gentleman at BNY Mellon, actually showcased some great features like a notification system, task reminders, user-specific task boards. It was fantastic, and I'm very excited to see this rolled out in the next year or so. User experience has also been a big thing. If you are currently utilizing Anaplan, you may have seen some user experience updates in the last couple of months, but the roadmap for where they're planning to go is absolutely gorgeous. It's really quite beautiful. Wonderful utilization of space, and most importantly, most notably, mobile ready. So being able to see some of those visualizations, those key KPIs, those task reminders from the workflow, just kind of very easily scrollable and touch-enabled, looked great. And then finally, a clear focus from Anaplan's side of things on intelligent planning. And I've called out Optimizer here because I'll actually be showcasing Optimizer in today's webcast. So before I get into that show and tell, so to speak, what is intelligent planning and what is Optimizer? Right now within Anaplan, there are 26 methods and models available for utilization, including regression, exponential smoothing, whole splinters, cross-bins, many more, et cetera. In terms of the focus moving forward, Anaplan is doing a number of POCs in conjunction with Google Machine Learning, and they are rolling out this optimizer for linear programming. So what exactly is Optimizer? Anaplan Optimizer utilizes the Gurobi optimization engine, and it's actually part of the Anaplan platform. It's integrated into the technology itself. So from an end user perspective, everything seems seamless, but allows for that modeling in the background. In terms of the demonstration itself, just to give a bit of context as to the role I'll be playing. We'll be going into this demo assuming that I am taking the role of a supply chain analyst. And within my purview, I have 2 factory plants that are actually producing products, as well as 5 distribution centers, or DCs, as you'll see within the demo, that are shipping products to multiple customers. My goal from my boss or my boss's boss is to optimize for lowest cost what products should be produced by which plants, and which distribution center should they be shipped through to the customer. I'll have a number of constraints as well as variables that I'll walk through. The other piece of background that I'll give before going into this is that this is a demonstration that we have done at a previous business intelligence and analytics update run out of the UK. So that's a day-long workshop that we do about every quarter or so. And our most recent updates included this demonstration. We will have a video of the live demonstration up on our website in the next week or so. So as we prepared for that, what I've actually done here is just provided a number of screenshots to walk you through that demonstration and really just illustrate how Optimizer can be utilized. So with that said, here we are in Anaplan. We start off with a dashboard that really gives the end user a sense of the information that they can navigate through, information around input data, constraints, as well as your end variables and objectives. So if we take a look at that input data, we have a couple of transportation costs. Transportation costs per unit going from plant to distribution center, as well as distribution center to store or customer. We have the actual selling price per unit of our 4 products by store. And at the bottom here, we have production costs per unit by plant. We have handling costs for distribution centers. And we also have fixed overhead costs for distribution center, which is irrespective of the amount of products that we are shipping through. One thing to note, just looking at these numbers offhand, a distribution center 3 does have our highest fixed cost and is on the higher end of our handling costs as well. So it might be a distribution center that we're interested in keeping an eye on moving forward. We'll head over to our input volumes dashboard, and here we're seeing supply and demand data. We can see from a capacity perspective, plant 1 has about 12 million in capacity, 12 million units, while plant 2 has 8.4 million units. For our distribution centers, they are at approximately 4 million across the board, with the exception of, hey, distribution center 3, which is actually at about 6.6 million, almost 7 million there, so particularly high. And then if I scroll down to my demand data, I can see that overall across my stores, I'm looking at about 16 million units in demand. So from my perspective, 16 million units requested. I have 20 million in plant capacity and 25 million in distribution center capacity. I should be able to solve the problem, solve the question of being able to supply the demand that's being requested. But the question is really, what is the most optimal way for me to allocate the production between plants and the shipments through distribution centers? The other thing I'll note about this page, as you're looking at the supply and demand data, Anaplan does a fantastic job of being able to provide the end user a consolidated view of the information that would make the most sense for them to see side by side. However, from an underlying data perspective, each of these tables could be coming from a different source that's handled by a different team. So for example, your plant capacity table could be another Anaplan model and another dashboard that's run by your logistics team or your supply planning team. Same with your distribution center capacity. The demand data could be coming from an Anaplan model by your demand planning team, or it could be coming from an underlying data warehouse. Anaplan is quite robust with the ability to be able to bring in data from multiple sources and provide an end user that consolidated view. If we go into the constraints section, the constraints themselves are built into the model, but it's put onto this dashboard in plain English in case a user is interested in seeing exactly what those constraints are in an easy to digest fashion. From a demand, we've put the constraint that all demand will be fulfilled. From a facilities perspective, we've specified that shipments through plants and distribution centers will be less than or equal to the capacity of that given facility. And then finally, we're interested to ensure there's no additional product lying around, so the shipments coming from our distribution center will be equal to that which is produced. So let's finally get into the model, so where we can play with a number of what-if scenarios. On the top left-hand corner, we have our objective. As of right now, because we have not run our optimizer yet, our fixed costs are there. As we know, we have fixed costs across the distribution centers, but no other costs because we haven't produced anything yet. We also have a revenue, a sales income showing here because we've set the constraint. We will fulfill all demand, and we have the sales units. We have the sales price for a given unit set. So let's go ahead and run that optimizer. So now in doing so, we can see that our costs have been populated. We're producing a profit of about 13%, and our optimized plant shipments and distribution center shipments have been populated here at the bottom. One of the first things I'll note, as I've been talking about distribution center 3 for a while, is that optimizer has opted to only use about 2.8 million plant of distribution center 3's capacity. And that's the distribution center that was the anomaly with the highest capacity available to it at around 7 million. So why is optimizer specifying that we should only be utilizing less than half of that distribution center's capacity? The other thing I'll note, if I look up here in terms of the transportation cost per unit, DC3 is also on the higher end. So maybe we don't even need that third distribution center. So what if we remove that distribution center altogether? So we can go ahead and uncheck that box and rerun our optimizer here. And in doing so, we've seen that our profit has actually gone down, which means there are scenarios and there is a path wherein the utilization of that distribution center is preferable. So we'll go ahead and re-enable that distribution center. Other things that I notice for optimizer, plant 2 is maxed out at around 8.4 million, and if you recall, plant 1 did have a capacity of 12 million, but we're only looking at 7.6. So optimizer is preferring to max out plant 2 and then utilize or produce the remaining product in plant 1. Why? Well, one of the things I noticed is that the production cost in plant 1 is double that of plant 2. So what would happen if we decrease our production cost in plant 1 by, say, about 10%? So bringing that down to 1.8, and then rerun that optimizer. Now, if you look down at plant 2, or if you look at the plant shipments overall, optimizer is preferring to utilize plant 1 across the board at its maximum capacity, and then take the additional products into plant 2. Last thing I'll say, or last what-if scenario we'll go through, what if we have an increase in store demand? Will we be able to handle that given the plants and distribution centers that we have? So I can go ahead and increase that store demand by 10% and run that optimizer once again. So here we can see we have a profit of about 10.8%, but maybe we might be interested in being able to provide that increased store demand through the use of a new plant. So Anaplan will allow me to add to a given list. So I can insert here a new plant. We'll just call it new, hit OK. And we have to set the transportation costs for that new plant. We've set it as 4 across the board. We also have to set the production cost in that plant, and we'll set it here at 175. Finally, we have to set the capacity that the plant can hold, and we'll set that at the same as plant 2, which is about 700,000 across the board per month, so a total of 8.4 million units. And then finally, back over to our model. Let's run that optimizer with the new plant. So back when we had 2 plants and 5 distribution centers, looking at that 10.8% profit, if we run the optimizer with the new plant, we can now see that we have an 11.2% profit and a preference toward that new plant and then plant 1, disregarding plant 2 altogether based off of the variables that we've set here. Alrighty, so that was optimizer. There are many other things coming up in the Anaplan roadmap for the given year. We talked a little bit about machine learning, Google's AI, other spoken interfaces, and a number of things regarding user experience as well as security. So if you're interested in learning any more about the information that we had on today's webcast, or interested in kind of some of the other engagements that we've had with our customers in Anaplan or otherwise, feel free to reach out to us. We put a sampling of some of those engagements and some of the services that we provide on the slide here. Additionally, we have rolled out a brand new website. We're very excited about it, so please feel free to check that out. We've put some screenshots on the slide here. We have a new perspective page to showcase some of that on-demand content, so previous webcasts, white papers, case studies, things like that, as well as an events page in case you're interested in other webcasts such as today's. Fantastic. Well, that concludes today's webinar. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you, Austin, for running the first half of the webcast. My name is Amanda Quon. Once again, if you do have any questions, comments, feedback, please feel free to reach out to us with the contact information on the slide here. Have a great day.